Hi everyone, and welcome to another CH4B Experts Insights webinar. We're really pleased to have you with us today. I'll just do some quick introductions before I hand over to Chris to dive in with the webinar content. So if you're new to the CH4B community, welcome. CH4B is the UK's only complete business growth ecosystem built specifically for SME business owners to give you the right tools, connections and expert guidance to grow with confidence. At the heart of what we do are 4 core fundamentals, which is the CH4B members portal, which is your dashboard for all things training tools, networking and support, our expert partner network with over 70 trusted experts ready to help solve all of your business challenges, the Bank of Knowledge, which is our training and development platform designed to build capability and reward your progress as well, and the CH4B Rewards Programme, where your investment in growth earns you something back. So today's session, which is what we're all here for, is led by Chris Gault from the Bank of Knowledge, and it's all about leadership skills for business owners, a topic that couldn't be more relevant in today's fast-moving landscape. So whether you're looking to inspire a team or handle difficult decisions or simply lead with more clarity and confidence, you're in the right place. So without further ado, I will pass over to Chris and we can dive in.
Thanks very much for the introduction, Kim. Really appreciate it. I'm just going to share my screen with everyone watching today. So yes, I'm Chris, Chief Inspiration Officer from the Bank of Knowledge. And today I just want to talk to everyone about leadership skills for business owners and why leaders coach. I think it's really valuable for your members to understand and know why, as leaders, they should take a coaching approach to running their business. As I've said, Chief Inspiration Officer at the Bank of Knowledge, and we also have Mobin. He's our knowledge expert. I love to introduce him because he appears throughout our slides as we're speaking. I am a trained Master Practitioner of NLP, and so I use a lot of the neuroscience and neurolinguistic programming within the training that we present. And it's a really useful skill and tool to build within your own leadership. So in this webinar, there's sort of 3 core points I'm going to be covering off for those that are listening. First is around how coaching builds ownership, not dependency. Then also how coaching creates psychological safety and trust, and how coaching grows future leaders. So let's not waste any more time and I'll get started straight away. So we're going to start with workout 1. Workout 1 is coaching builds ownership, not dependency. Benjamin Disraeli said, the greatest good you can do for another is not just to share your riches, but to reveal to them their own. It's the most traditional leaders give answers, whereas great leaders ask questions, and those questions then unlock insights. Because coaching develops thinking rather than dictating direction. This result is proactive, it's self-directive for your teams. And when leaders coach, people learn how to solve problems rather than wait for someone to solve them for them. So a powerful stat to think about, according to Gallup, 15% of employees globally feel engaged, but when managers take a coaching approach, that figure raises up to a staggering 67%. It's a fantastic stat to listen to. And it's because the difference between management and leadership, one is short-term control and the other is focused on long-term capability. I just want people to think about that. Management, short-term control, leadership, long-term capability. Because in many organizations, leadership is still seen through the lens of authority, being the person with the answers, the expert, the solver. Although it may be seen as efficient on the surface, it's actually a ceiling on team performance, because when leaders constantly solve problems for their team, certain things happen. First, they create dependency. So team members wait for permission or direction or validation. Also, leaders will burn out because they become overwhelmed, because they're the bottleneck of every decision. And I'm sure this is, starting to ring true to a lot of the people listening to this. And also, teams miss out on innovation. You don't access teams' creative thinking, it goes untapped. Whereas in contrast, coaching style leadership flips this dynamic completely. So when traditional leaders are saying things like, here's what we should do, let me fix that for you, next time just follow the process. Coaching leaders, sorry, jumped ahead there, but coaching leaders, they are asking different questions. They're going, what options do you see? What have you tried so far? What outcomes are you aiming for? And you'll see the difference there is your traditional leaders are just giving instruction. They're focused on short-term control, whereas the other is looking at long-term capability. So you see, when leaders coach, they aren't just managing the present, they're building for the future. They're asking the right questions, and that helps people to clarify their own thinking, evaluate different options, and take ownership of their decisions. So they even help build resilience when things go wrong, and they build confidence in their own judgment. So it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. So instead of saying, here's the answer, they say, let's think this through together. And it turns every challenge into a learning opportunity. And over time, the team becomes more proactive, more strategic, and more self-sufficient. So here's something to try. I want everyone now just to think of a recent time someone came to them with a problem and think, did you just give them an answer or did you help them to find the solution themselves? Then think about what was the situation, map it out in your mind, bring that memory to the forefront of your thinking, and then think about your instinctive response and think about how you would describe that. Then flip the narrative and ask yourself, how could you have used a coaching approach instead? So just want people to think that through. That's an exercise that they can try after this as well. So the second workout I just want to speak to everyone about today as well is coaching creates psychological safety and trust. So Brené Brown says trust is built in every small moment because coaching conversations show that leaders are curious, not judgmental. And this strengthens trust, encourages openness, and invites real dialogue. Google's Project Aristotle found the #1 factor behind high-performing teams was actually, in fact, psychological safety. Now, for those that don't know what this is where people feel safe to take risks and be vulnerable. At the heart of leadership coaching is one vital ingredient, and that is safety. And we're not talking about physical safety here, we're talking about psychological safety. It's the belief that your team will have that means it's safe to speak up, that they believe it's okay to take risks, make mistakes, and to ultimately be human without the fear of punishment or humiliation. It's that foundation. If it's missing, then coaching doesn't work. You've got to have that foundation in place. And why? Because real coaching isn't about performance reviews or ticking boxes once a year. It's about being vulnerable, opening up, reflecting honestly, thinking aloud and learning in real time. Okay, and no one does any of that if they feel unsafe. So why not ask yourself these simple questions, okay? On a scale of 1 to 10, how safe do people feel speaking up around you? Okay, just think about that. Because it's interesting. If it's lower than a 6, you've got some work to do. Okay, so think about one thing you could currently do which would build up that safety and trust. One small behavior that could change, which could increase safety in those conversations, making people feel comfortable to take those risks, to speak up to you. If you're a leader and you're looking after a team, after your next one-to-one with someone, ask them this. What's one thing you're not telling me but should be? It's a very simple question that can shift the dynamic and signal that honesty is welcome and not punished. Just repeat that. What's one thing you're not telling me but should be? Give that a go and ask that. Because to summarize, leaders that coach well are constantly cultivating safety through how they listen, how they ask, and how they respond. Okay, another really interesting exercise to reflect on. So that scale of 1 to 10, about how safe do people feel speaking up around you. In your next team meeting, ask your attendees to reflect honestly. Not just how safe they think it is, but how safe others, their colleagues, feel in their presence. And then give them 2 powerful prompts to capture on paper. So here's the first one. One thing I currently do that builds trust. So for example, they might say, I give people space to speak without interrupting. And then the second element, one small behavior I could change to increase safety in conversations. So for example, I could stop jumping in with solutions before they finish speaking. So in that meeting, encourage them to be specific and real. So small changes in tone, language, and timing, all of those things could shift the entire emotional climate within those environments. So as a leader, just take that away with you, another workout for you to go and put into practice and just see the difference it makes within your team. So our third workout that I just want all those listening to think about is that coaching grows future leaders. Okay. Before you are a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others, by Jack Welch. It's a really lovely quote to get people actually thinking about what they should be doing as a leader. Because why it matters? Well, one of the most overlooked responsibilities of a leader is that talent multiplication. People get promoted into leadership roles and they get too bogged down with what they think they need to do. They're focused on results, KPIs, performance, and strategy. Now, of course, that is important. It's incomplete because the highest performing leaders don't just drive results, they are creating people that can drive the results. And that's where coaching becomes a strategic superpower. Okay, coaching is not soft. It's not an extra, which a lot of people look at it as. It is the most scalable, future-proofing tool a leader has. And that is because when you coach someone, you're not just fixing their problems, you are developing their capacity to lead without you. A good leader shouldn't be needed. According to Harvard Business Review, companies with strong coaching cultures report 21% higher performance, 39% stronger employee engagement, and a 46% higher leadership bench strength. Now, that last number, that is key, but not everyone knows what it means, that a leadership bench strength. It means that these companies don't panic when someone exits or when a new opportunity appears, because they've already developed leaders internally as they've been coached into readiness. And that is what we call the multiplier effect of coaching. So when you lead through coaching, you are investing in your team's ability to think independently, to solve complex problems, inspire others, handle uncertainty, lead initiatives without waiting for permission. And you then shift the mindset from what should I do, boss, to here's what I propose we should try. Now, that is a different culture. As a leader, as a business owner, you're having people think for themselves and just get on with things because you've coached them into knowing what to do. Imagine the time that saves you. Imagine the efficiency that your business is now running on. Coaching doesn't just fill gaps, it builds new bridges. And then as those people grow, they coach others, and the ripple effect spreads. It spreads quickly as well. It is a fantastic tool as a leader. We've got to move away from these common thinking traps. Okay, these are what bring people down. But it's faster if I just do it myself. Very short-term thinking. This is always how we've done things here. Or the biggest one, I'm the senior person here. Yes, in the short term, doing it yourself may feel faster, but over time it creates these bottlenecks, it creates burnouts, and it creates a team that waits instead of leads, waiting for instruction. Every time you coach someone instead of giving them the answers, you're slowing down the speed up. Okay, you're getting things done quicker in the long run. You're building decision-making muscles, creating the conditions for leaders to emerge from everywhere in the organization, not just from the top. Okay, job titles don't matter in leadership. It's about the individuals. A leader's job is not to be the hero, but to build heroes in others. Okay, that's why I'm saying I'm the senior person here. Drop the ego. Doesn't matter whether you're senior in job title. Okay, as a true leader, you want to develop those around you. So ask yourself, who in your team has untapped potential that you're underestimating or overlooking? Okay, because we all do it. We all do it when we're working in business. We probably have our go-to people. Oh, excuse me. But why not pause and write down for the moment someone's name? Just write down one name and think, why have you overlooked them? And what might happen if they were given more trust, more space, or coaching? This simple exercise can help you as a leader stop defaulting to your go-to people and start scanning for future stars in the organization. Okay, so why not choose one person in your team? Let's start small, one person in your team, and commit to investing in them as a future leader. So I've got a 30-minute a week challenge for everyone. Block out one coaching style check-in per week, okay, with no agenda, and just ask the question, what's something you've been thinking about leading on? And listen, don't solve the problem, ask questions. Ask questions to this person to understand more, but do not try and solve it for them. And over time, give these individuals low risk leadership opportunities. Now, this could be presenting a project update, leading a team huddle, owning a process to improve, okay? And then coach them afterwards. What did they learn? What would they do differently? And you'll start to see leadership behaviors emerging, and they'll start seeing themselves differently too. And it just starts rippling. So that's a 30-minute exercise. Book yourself a one coaching style session a week with one person. Start small, and then as you build, you can spread that out across the organization. So a quick recap there. We've explored why coaching builds ownership, not dependency. Okay, so it gets people thinking for themselves. We also looked at how coaching creates psychological safety and trust. So you've got to create that environment where they feel comfortable and okay with speaking out. And we finished off by putting it all together by showing how coaching grows future leaders. You will have a team of proactive people, solution providers, problem solvers. So just think about, what have you taken away from today? What actions are you going to take? Because I say this often, going and doing training and learning and gaining new knowledge is pointless if you don't go and do something with it. So what action are you going to take after today? And what practical hints and tips can you go and utilize back in the office? That's what you've got to be focusing on. Because I just want to say, you know, we've seen the benefits of investing time in coaching for those in your team to be future leaders as well. And it's about creating the right opportunities. And I just want to explain how the bank of knowledge can help do that as well, because coaching is a skill, and sometimes you need to upskill your leaders to be able to coach and spread that out across your team as well. Now, at the Bank of Knowledge, we reward businesses and their owners for investing in personal and professional development. Okay, we advocate the prioritization of training and learning as an essential investment in business strategy. It shouldn't be put to one side. It should be one of your key tools. And we provide knowledge in different ways. We provide our training to be accessed. We have our knowledge vault. So these are bite-sized learning, 10 to 20-minute videos, can be accessed by team members in their own time around their busy schedules, and then they can take it away and implement it. It can also support reinforcing other training that maybe they've received, such as our knowledge bank and investor options. These are our interactive sessions delivered by our highly skilled trainers. We call them our inspiration officers. So these can be one-off learnings, or more effectively, we offer bespoke training programs tailored to the challenges faced in your business. We have our Knowledge Society, which has one-to-one coaching, seminars, in-person training, and it's all focused on developing high performers and high performance. So if you know you need to introduce coaching to your business, but you lack the skills yourself, we can support with your team development while we upskill your leaders to be able to become effective coaching leaders themselves. Okay, we are coaches in our own part at the Bank of Knowledge. We want to provide you with the skills and knowledge you need to continuously develop, but equally, if we can coach your leaders to be fantastic leaders, you shouldn't need us anymore. And then we have the knowledge accreditation. Now, these are the courses which fall under your optional and mandatory CPD that a lot of industries have to do. So they could be your essential skills, your office and HR skills, as well as your fire safety, health and safety, manual handling, etc. There's so much on there that you can do. I just want to end this webinar with some more key stats around the return on investment you could see by investment in training. Okay, whether you're a business owner, employee, individual, interested in your own development. Studies have shown that businesses investing on average at least 10% of their annual turnover into training and development for their whole organization will see an 80% increase in customer service net promoter scores, okay, which in turn leads to repeat custom. The easiest kind of sale, that is, repeat custom. They see an average of 50% surge in sales. So this is increasing your revenue, covering the cost of this internal training investment, okay, with excess profit. It's a higher return on investment than most sales and marketing strategies. You can get a 70% rise in retention of staff year on year, okay? Just by investing in training and development, you retain your staff. That's average figure to rehire someone when someone leaves is approximately £5,000, okay, per rehire. This is the unmeasurable cost as well of any business you lose through that person that's left your business, or their knowledge that you've lost. So if you can retain that talent, develop it, you're saving so much money there as well. And then finally, for individuals, this is an interesting one, but also for employees and business owners that care about their staff. 35% increase in individual earnings for those that you invest in. And that's affordable by the company as a result of the increased productivity, skills, outputs that are delivered by a team who have been valued and invested in. So I always ask this question. It's not, can you afford to invest in training? It's actually, can you afford not to invest in training? Because it will keep your business progressing, because you're keeping your team progressing. You'll be becoming better each day. You'll achieve growth, your success, that high performance. Hopefully that's given everyone a bit of an insight into what we do at the Bank of Knowledge, and given you some practical skills and tools you can take away and put into your business today. And obviously, if there's any information that people want, or they want to discuss individual needs, get in touch, because often people have questions and specific challenges in their business, and we can tailor the solutions that will help. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Chris. That was really insightful, especially those few core stats at the end there. A lot of people say that they don't have the funds to invest in that sort of training, but that's quite a powerful statement, being able to not afford into it. And of course, it does make you more attractive an employer when it comes to re-recruiting for those roles, because you've got that already embedded within the employee benefits itself with progression opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. I think you invest in your team and your people. Yes, there's an initial cost, but as we say, we upskill, earn rewards at the Bank of Knowledge. So you purchase the training, we're going to give you reward points back as part of your spend. So you're already getting some rewards back just by making the investment. Then the development you've made in your team and in your business increases your sales, your productivity. You start getting cost savings and extra revenue anyway. So it's a win-win-win-win-win for everyone involved.
I'm going to put you on the spot very quickly, because there were just a couple of questions that I had throughout that presentation, but I didn't want to interrupt your flow.
Okay.
The first one was around, you mentioned the providing the coaching internally, so there isn't a panic when it comes to recruitment. Would you say that you would then advocate for internal promotion as opposed to external recruitment in those scenarios?
It all depends on the business and the industry. You know, you've got to look at the holistic need. Each role has a different skill. But if you've got people internally that have the practical industry knowledge that you need for them to perform a role, often people go, you're good at a job, so I'm going to make you a team leader, and they promote them, but they don't invest in that leadership skill. But if you've already given them the leadership skills through ongoing coaching, you've already got, they're good at the job and they're good leaders, let's promote them. That said, if you're creating a brand new role and someone doesn't have the skills internally, you've got to look at, do I need to bring in the talent, or is there some further training? So I don't advocate one over the other. Personal preference would always look at what I've got internally first, because of what I've said. They already know the business, they already promote the culture that you've got, they have some skill set. But when I'm recruiting someone, if they've got 60% of the skills or experience I need, we can upskill the rest. We can teach them the rest. Life is learning, things evolve and change all the time. I still, I have evolved from where I was 5, 10, 20 years ago, without giving my age away. But I can still learn today, tomorrow, next year. So never stop investing in training. Yeah, I'd say promote internally where you can, but there are times when you have to look externally.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's also worth considering what that transition period looks like. If you've got somebody that's 60% of the way there, even with an external candidate, like you say, they don't necessarily understand the business. So depending on what the need, the role, and the traits that are needed for that role are, it's a fine balance, but it's an interesting discussion to have. And the other one was around leadership for the individual and developing those skills, particularly around the common thinking traps. I know I've certainly been guilty myself, particularly when it was back in hospitality and we were running weddings and there's very strict deadlines and it's just quicker to do it yourself. I've, over a period of years, made a conscious decision to change that narrative and to pause and make the opportunity to coach and lead somebody into those opportunities. But is there any specific advice or courses that you offer around changing those habits and those mindsets to move and migrate to a more leadership style than those common thinking traps?
I mean, there's various options really. We've got, as I said, the Knowledge Vault's got these 10 to 20-minute bite-sized videos. So it's a monthly subscription. You get access to videos where we add videos every single month, and there is a range in there. And they're all categorized. So you can look at mindset and motivation. You can look at achieving goals and outcomes. You could look at leadership. They're 3 of the categories that you'll find within the training that's provided. And you'll find bite-sized videos. So if you just finished a task, you've got 20 minutes until your next meeting, there's no point starting another task in between because you're going to get interrupted, jump on and watch a 15-minute video under the category of leadership or of achieving goals and outcomes. We do have then, if you're looking to send multiple people onto a course, yes, we've got leadership courses, we've got mindset courses, communication courses, but we also will have conversations with business owners and find out specifically what they're looking at, what challenge within their organization. And what we find is they come to us thinking they know the challenge, and then through us asking a few questions, we actually identify they'd be better off starting with something else. And then we might put together a tailored program. So, we'll start initially with 3 or 4 2-hour sessions with 2 to 3 week gaps between the sessions. The reason being that you want people to take away what they've learned and try implementing it. And then we stack the skills as we move on. So I might have digressed slightly from your original question. So apologies about that. But sort of there, some of the courses and options that we have available. Remind me the other part of your question.
It was specifically around the thinking trap. So for somebody to get started in their first step into migrating to that leadership style, to sort of embed that conscious narrative of change, because I can't remember what the specific statistic is, but it's something like changing a habit, it's 100 repetitions. So it's being able to catch yourself in that moment of default and then flipping it into.
I think that is a big part of just mindset, and it is about changing a habit. There's various stats. It takes 100 repetitions. It can take 30 days. It depends on the habit, in all honesty,
of course,
and how ingrained it is into you. One of the things I like to remind people about, often people avoid coaching or drop coaching quite quickly because they consider it time consuming. To be fair, most of the things that are going to make a big impact to you or bring value to you long term do feel initially time consuming. And I compare it to going to the gym. You don't join a gym, go once or twice and instantly get the body you want or get the health levels you want. You have to invest, keep repeating the visit, and over time you start to see the value being developed. But you then get to look back at where you were and go, wow, what a transformation. Coaching does take longer than just giving someone direction or doing it yourself. But if you add up over the next 12 months, how many times that 2-minute task every day is going to take you over 12 months. And then you look and go, well, if I extended it to a 5-minute task to coach someone, maybe 3 or 4 times across the next 4 weeks, and then they can do it on their own, you've just spent 20 minutes across 4 weeks training someone to be able to do it on their own, rather than 2 minutes over 52 weeks, so 104 minutes versus 20 minutes for a simple task. So when you tell yourself that and you put it into practical terms, would I rather spend 104 minutes this year doing that simple task, or would I rather spend 20 minutes over the next 4 weeks training someone to take it off my hands? I personally would get someone to take it off my hands. So even if you just remember that example, that's probably enough to help you remember to change habit. Now, there are techniques that we can teach you for changing habits. And yes, we do have that within our one-to-one coaching if you want to do it on an individual basis. But we also have some techniques built into various trainings that we can provide.
That's probably a really apt point to end on, is that incorporation of reflection. So it would be great for everybody to go away from this, reflect on the session and the workshops that Chris has done. And if there are any burning or outstanding questions, or you want to have a chat in one-to-one to see how that will influence and impact how you can take your business forward, then I'll send you an email shortly afterwards and we can get you booked in for that. But thank you so much for your time, Chris. It's always a pleasure to delve into the neurolinguistics and how we work, and how we can make things better, more efficient, and with longer term investment in ourselves and our teams.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Ciao for now.
Speak soon.
Bye.